Several factors could contribute to dimmer switch problems with recessed lights, even if the amperage seems adequate. Overloading is a primary concern. Even with a limited number of lights, the total wattage might surpass the dimmer's rated capacity. Examine the wattage of each light fixture and compare the cumulative wattage to the dimmer's specified maximum load. Incorrect wiring is another potential cause. Meticulously verify that the dimmer switch is wired accurately, adhering strictly to the manufacturer's instructions. Look for loose connections or any instances of reverse polarity. Not all recessed lights are compatible with dimmers. Ensure the installed lights are specifically designed and rated for dimming applications. The dimmer switches themselves could be faulty. Experiment with different brands or models of dimmers to rule out a defective unit. Loose bulb connections can lead to flickering or humming. Confirm that all bulbs are securely screwed into their respective recessed light fixtures. Electronic interference can disrupt dimmer operation. If other electronic devices such as fans or motors share the same circuit, they may generate electrical noise that interferes with the dimmer's performance. Grounding issues can manifest as humming and other electrical anomalies. Validate that all fixture boxes are correctly grounded. To troubleshoot effectively, firstly, check the wattage load. Compute the total wattage of all connected lights and compare it against the dimmer's maximum load rating. Secondly, verify the wiring. Scrutinize all wiring connections to ensure they are both secure and accurate according to the wiring diagram. Thirdly, test the recessed lights independently. Use a standard, non-dimmable switch to confirm the lights are indeed dimmable. Fourthly, try different dimmer models. If multiple dimmer switches exhibit similar problems, consider the possibility of a fundamental wiring or electrical issue beyond the dimmers themselves. Fifthly, check the bulb connections. Firmly tighten all bulb connections to guarantee a secure electrical path. Sixthly, eliminate potential electronic interference. Disconnect other electrical devices connected to the same circuit temporarily to determine if the dimmer issue resolves. If these steps don't resolve the problem, it's advisable to consult a licensed electrician. They can diagnose and rectify more complex electrical problems that may be present. Understanding dimmer compatibility is crucial. Standard incandescent dimmers are designed for traditional incandescent bulbs. These dimmers work by reducing the voltage supplied to the bulb, which in turn reduces the light output. LED dimmers, on the other hand, are designed to work with LED bulbs, which require a different dimming method. LED dimmers typically use pulse width modulation or constant current reduction to control the brightness of the LED. Using an incandescent dimmer with LED bulbs can cause flickering, buzzing, or even damage to the bulb or dimmer. Similarly, using an LED dimmer with incandescent bulbs may not provide smooth dimming control. Three-way switches, when used with dimmers, add another layer of complexity. A three-way switch allows you to control light from two different locations. When installing a dimmer in a three-way circuit, it's essential to use a dimmer that's specifically designed for three-way operation. These dimmers typically have a traveler wire terminal that connects to the traveler wires in the three-way circuit. Using a standard dimmer in a three-way circuit can cause the dimmer to malfunction or not work at all. Understanding load capacity is also important. Every dimmer has a maximum load capacity, which is the maximum amount of wattage that the dimmer can handle. Exceeding the dimmer's load capacity can cause the dimmer to overheat and fail. It's important to calculate the total wattage of all the lights connected to the dimmer and make sure that it doesn't exceed the dimmer's load capacity. If the total wattage exceeds the dimmer's load capacity, you'll need to use a dimmer with a higher load capacity or reduce the number of lights connected to the dimmer. Wiring issues can also cause dimmer problems. Incorrect wiring, loose connections, or damaged wires can all cause dimmers to malfunction. It's important to carefully inspect the wiring connections and make sure that they're secure and properly insulated. If you're not comfortable working with electrical wiring, it's best to hire a qualified electrician to do the job. Neutral wire issues can also lead to problems. In some cases, dimmers require a neutral wire connection to function properly. If the neutral wire is missing or incorrectly connected, the dimmer may not work or may exhibit strange behavior. It's important to check the dimmer's wiring diagram to see if a neutral wire connection is required. If it is, make sure that the neutral wire is properly connected. Compatibility with smart home systems is another consideration. Many dimmers are now designed to be compatible with smart home systems such as Amazon Alexa or Google Home. These dimmers can be controlled remotely using a smartphone or voice commands. If you're planning to integrate your dimmer with a smart home system, make sure that the dimmer is compatible with your system. It's also important to follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully when setting up the dimmer with your smart home system. Older wiring can also cause problems with modern dimmers. Homes with older wiring may have issues with grounding or neutral connections, which can affect the performance of dimmers. In some cases, it may be necessary to upgrade the wiring to ensure proper dimmer operation. This is especially important if you're experiencing flickering, buzzing, or other unusual behavior from your dimmers. Surge protection is also important to consider. Power surges can damage dimmers and other electronic devices. It's a good idea to use surge protectors to protect your dimmers from power surges. Surge protectors can be installed at the electrical panel or at individual outlets. Make sure that the surge protector is rated for the voltage and amperage of the circuit that it's protecting. Understanding the different types of dimmers available is also essential. There are several types of dimmers available, each with its own advantages and disadvantages. Some common types of dimmers include rotary dimmers, slide dimmers, and touch dimmers. Rotary dimmers are the most traditional type of dimmer and are controlled by turning a knob. Slide dimmers are controlled by sliding a slider up or down. Touch dimmers are controlled by touching a touch-sensitive surface. The best type of dimmer for your needs will depend on your personal preferences and the type of lights that you're using. Heat buildup is another factor to consider. Dimmers can generate heat, especially when they're operating at high loads. It's important to make sure that the dimmer is properly ventilated to prevent it from overheating. Avoid installing dimmers in enclosed spaces or near other heat sources. If the dimmer is getting too hot, it may be necessary to use a dimmer with a higher load capacity or reduce the number of lights connected to the dimmer. Checking for loose connections is a critical step in troubleshooting dimmer problems. Loose connections can cause flickering, buzzing, or even complete failure of the dimmer. Carefully inspect all the wiring connections and make sure that they're tight and secure. If you find any loose connections, tighten them carefully. If the wires are damaged, replace them. Electromagnetic interference can also affect dimmer performance. Dimmers can be affected by electromagnetic interference from other devices such as radios, televisions, or computers. This interference can cause flickering, buzzing, or other problems. To reduce electromagnetic interference, try moving the dimmer away from other electronic devices. You can also try using shielded wiring. Compatibility with different types of bulbs, such as compact fluorescent lamps, or CFLs, and light-emitting diodes, or LEDs, requires specific dimmers designed for these technologies. Standard incandescent dimmers are not suitable for CFL or LED, as they can cause flickering, buzzing, or premature bulb failure. CFL and LED dimmers use different dimming methods that are compatible with these types of bulbs. It's important to use the correct type of dimmer for the type of bulbs that you're using. The color temperature of the light emitted by the bulbs can also affect the perceived dimming performance. Different color temperatures can create different moods and atmospheres. Some dimmers allow you to adjust the color temperature of the light, which can be useful for creating the desired ambience. It's important to choose bulbs with the appropriate color temperature for your needs. Noise from the dimmer itself can sometimes be an issue. Some dimmers can produce a humming or buzzing noise, especially when they are operating at low light levels. This noise can be annoying, especially in quiet environments. If you're experiencing noise from your dimmer, try using a different brand or model of dimmer. Some dimmers are designed to be quieter than others. Understanding the different wiring configurations is also important for troubleshooting dimmer problems. There are several different wiring configurations that can be used with dimmers, such as single pole, three-way, and four-way wiring. Each wiring configuration has its own specific requirements and challenges. It's important to understand the wiring configuration that you're using and make sure that the dimmer is wired correctly. Voltage fluctuations can also affect dimmer performance. Voltage fluctuations can cause flickering, dimming, or other problems. If you're experiencing voltage fluctuations, you may need to install a voltage regulator to stabilize the voltage. A voltage regulator can help to ensure that your dimmer is operating at the correct voltage. The age of the dimmer itself can also be a factor. Dimmers can wear out over time, especially if they are used frequently. If your dimmer is old, it may be time to replace it. A new dimmer can often solve many of the problems that you're experiencing. Identifying the specific type of recessed lighting fixture can also be helpful. There are several different types of recessed lighting fixtures, such as can lights, gimbal lights, and eyeball lights. Each type of fixture has its own specific characteristics and requirements. Understanding the type of fixture that you're using can help you to troubleshoot dimmer problems more effectively. Considering the placement of the recessed lights can also be important. The placement of the recessed lights can affect the overall lighting effect in the room. It's important to place the recessed lights in a way that provides adequate lighting without creating glare or shadows. The placement of the recessed lights can also affect the performance of the dimmer. Dimmers may not work as well if the recessed lights are placed too close together or too far apart. Checking for any signs of damage to the dimmer or the wiring is also important. Look for any cracks, breaks, or burns. If you see any signs of damage, replace the dimmer or the wiring immediately. Damaged dimmers or wiring can be a fire hazard. Ensuring the dimmer is properly rated for the type of load, whether inductive or resistive, is also important. Inductive loads, such as motors, can cause problems with dimmers that are designed for resistive loads, such as incandescent bulbs. It's important to use a dimmer that is specifically designed for the type of load that you are using. Using the wrong type of dimmer can cause the dimmer to fail or even create a fire hazard. Considering the ambient temperature can also play a role. Extreme temperatures can affect the performance of dimmers. Dimmers may not work as well in very hot or very cold environments. It's important to use a dimmer that is rated for the ambient temperature in the room. If the room is very hot or very cold, you may need to use a special type of dimmer that is designed for extreme temperatures. Checking for any obstructions around the dimmer can also be helpful. Obstructions can prevent the dimmer from dissipating heat properly, which can cause it to overheat and fail. Make sure that there are no obstructions around the dimmer, such as furniture, curtains, or insulation. If there are any obstructions, remove them. Ensuring the dimmer is installed in a properly sized electrical box is also essential. Dimmers generate heat, and a properly sized electrical box will allow the heat to dissipate properly. If the electrical box is too small, the dimmer can overheat and fail. It's important to use an electrical box that is large enough to accommodate the dimmer and all of the wiring. A licensed electrician can help you to determine the correct size of electrical box for your dimmer. Considering the age and condition of the wiring in the house is also important. Older wiring may not be able to handle the load of a dimmer. If you have older wiring, it's important to have it inspected by a licensed electrician before installing a dimmer. The electrician can determine if the wiring is safe and can handle the load of the dimmer. Considering the local electrical codes is also important. Local electrical codes may have specific requirements for installing dimmers. It's important to check with your local building department to make sure that you're following all of the applicable electrical codes. Failing to follow local electrical codes can result in fines or other penalties. If you're not comfortable working with electricity, it's best to hire a licensed electrician to install the dimmer for you. A licensed electrician has the knowledge and experience to install the dimmer safely and correctly. Trying to install a dimmer yourself without the proper knowledge and experience can be dangerous. Considering any recent electrical work that has been done in the house can also be helpful. If you've recently had any electrical work done in the house, it's possible that the dimmer problem is related to the recent work. It's important to check with the electrician who did the work to see if they can help you to troubleshoot the problem. It's important to take all necessary safety precautions when working with electricity. Always turn off the power to the circuit before working on any electrical wiring. Use insulated tools and wear safety glasses. If you're not comfortable working with electricity, hire a licensed electrician to do the job for you. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it's important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself from injury. Lastly, consider the dimmer's compatibility with energy-efficient bulbs. Not all dimmers are compatible with energy-efficient bulbs such as LED and CFL. Using an incompatible dimmer can cause the bulbs to flicker, buzz, or fail prematurely. It's important to choose a dimmer that is specifically designed to work with energy-efficient bulbs. These dimmers typically have a wider dimming range and are designed to minimize flicker and buzzing. Some dimmers also have a feature that allows you to adjust the minimum dimming level to further improve compatibility with energy-efficient bulbs.